This is the Soni Podcast. I'm Mohammed Tunkara, your host for today. Today we have Momarr Taal from the Gambia on the podcast. I will let him introduce himself. Hello, Momarr.
Hello, I'm Momarr Taal, founder and CEO of Tropingo Foods and Ecosoil Africa. We are a food processing company based in Gambia, focusing on the export of foods and value-added commodities from Gambia to the entire world. Mainly mangoes, dried mangoes, peanuts are our main food processing, as well as Ecosoil Africa, which is Gambia's first organic fertilizer manufacturing company. We're trying to solve the soil degradation problem in Gambia by giving farmers an alternative to chemical fertilizers, which they have been so used to for the past decades, and giving them a locally made alternative, which is Ecosoil Africa.
Thank you. So, given your background, I'd like for you to talk to us about your background, your education journey to, wherever you ended, and then when you came back to Gambia, please.
Okay, I was born in Gambia, and when I was very young, we lived in Nairobi, Kenya, where I went to school through my formative years, and moved back to Gambia for high school. After that, I was fortunate enough to move to Canada, where I did my university studies, and in a way that made every African parent very proud. My fourth year of university, I decided to drop out to pursue business as full time. So, in our households, your options are to either become a doctor, a lawyer, or a failure to the family. And I chose failure to the family. But that's because while I was in university, I was studying international development and economics.
Yes.
And in college, I started my first business. It was a very modest t-shirt line. And we started by printing on campus, and we got a lot of demand. People really liked it. Mind you, my school was 60,000 people. So it's a huge market, and we would jump from university to university and sell. And when the demand got bigger than we could produce, we said, okay, let's start interrogating the supply chain. And we found that in Canada, they had a treaty with Bangladesh that garments come in duty free, and it would drop our costs by 70%. So we found a factory in Bangladesh through a friend who's from there, and we started bringing it in bulk. And when I did that first time, I remember I had no business training. I was not keeping accounts or anything, but I got hooked too. I loved business, and solving these problems and just it exposing me to so many things that I decided that this is what I'm going to do. So now I'm in my fourth year, and I'm battling the fact that if this is what I told myself, if I graduate, I'm going straight to work. There's no, your parents will say they would not spend all this money on your school fees for you to come and sit down. So my thing was, if I don't graduate, there's no job for me. So I have to hustle. So I convinced myself and then tried to go convince my parents, which did not work. But I convinced them that let me take 1 year off in Gambia. I have this dream that I want to do. If I succeed, give me 1 year. If I have nothing to show for it, I'll go back to school. 1 year passed. Of course, I didn't have anything to show for it. But I said, look, it's too late. I'm here. And that's how Tropingo was born, like maybe 2 years later. Tropingo was born.
Good, interesting. So the question here is, you were born in the Combos.
Yes.
And raised abroad mainly,
Yes.
went to Canada boarding school and university. But how did you become a farmer? For me, you're a farmer. How did you come back to Gambia and think, mangoes, how? I'm still trying to process that.
Yeah, I think, I'm not a farmer. There's a misconception, but I wear it proudly. I work with farmers. So my thinking was, like I said, I studied international development economics, and I was always fascinated as why Africans are poor. And in Gambia, more than 60% of our population are farmers.
Yeah.
Why are they poor? And if you can't have a rich country with 60% of your population being poor, so we have to make sure that farmers have a good living. And it was about the value chains. And I used to study these value chains at university, and it fascinated me that every developed country has working value chains. Every poor country does not have value. We extract our resources and we sell it, and we depend on value chains of other countries to give us the finished goods. So I wanted to build something in that. So when I decided to come back to Gambia, very naively saying I'm going to build a value chain in the industry. And I settled on peanuts to start with, just because I guess the economist in me said, what do we have the most of that we can get easily to source and the world needs it? And it was peanuts. It's our greatest produce. I said, okay, how do I start working with peanut farmers? Tried to work with them. I failed miserably. And eventually, over time, I figured out a way to export peanuts to China. And by 2016, our company was the largest private exporter of peanuts from Gambia. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
The mangoes, now peanuts, if you know, it's 3 months in the year you do peanuts, and the rest of the year you sit down and you do nothing. And I said, okay, you're making this money from peanuts, you have to do something else. While I was in university, I used to snack on dried mango snacks, because in Canada you can't get fresh mangoes, and in Gambia, you know, mangoes are everywhere. And I remember the pack of 200 grams used to cost me $12 at the time. And for me, that was just a ridiculous price. And they used to come from the Philippines. And for me, it was like, well, Gambia is closer to Canada than the Philippines. We have mangoes. Why not? So I started interrogating that value chain, started talking to mango farmers, had a little bit of money, talked to the World Bank, and we built the first factory and started exporting. So that's how I got into these things. It was more based on a mix of my education, understanding that value chains are an integral part of our food system and our economy, and the lack thereof is an opportunity, not just for me as a business, but an opportunity to have an impact on as many people as possible through business. And you can't do that without working with farmers.
Okay, brilliant. And a few days ago, I bought a pack of mangoes at Tesco.
Yep.
I looked at the back, it says from Ivory Coast.
Yep.
So why can we not see the same thing that says from the Gambia?
But it happens.
The supermarkets, yeah?
Yes, the supermarkets. So there's 2 companies from Gambia that are selling into supermarkets here. One of them is Radville, which is owned by Wilmore, which is a British company.
Yeah, Radville,
Radville
Indians.
Farms, yeah. Yes, the Indians. Lena, she's Ugandan, yeah, the Indian origin, but they sell to Waitrose a lot, as the not just mangoes, baby corn.
Yeah, I've seen the baby corn,
Yes.
Radville farm, but I haven't seen the mangoes.
Yeah, they're there. Right now is the season. If you go to Waitrose right now, you'll find mangoes from Gambia. But we, as well as Tropingo Foods, well,
Yes.
we don't sell into the supermarkets, but we sell into the wholesale market in London, fresh mangoes from Gambia.
So maybe once that we will see at these Indian corner shops.
That's the hope. If my business does what it's supposed to do in the business plan, you should be seeing it everywhere. But there are there. I think the bigger question is, why isn't there more?
Yeah.
We all know that Gambia, we're rich in mangoes. Mangoes are so prevalent in Gambia, people don't even see it as a business, because you'd barely go to buy mango because you can pick it up from the side of the road anywhere you are. But if since independence you want to tell me only 3 or 4 companies have ever exported mangoes from Gambia, we have to interrogate why that is, and why aren't more Gambians looking into exporting our fruits. But I also think it's just a matter of people don't know these opportunities exist, or people don't have visibility to how to enter the markets in export countries. I may be blessed because of my upbringing, having lived in different countries and seeing how things work, that allows me to understand how these things work. And I've also put in a lot of time at great pain, to build the systems that allow me to take advantage of these opportunities. But that opportunity exists for every Gambian.
So saying that, can someone with a plot of land decide, I want to be a mango farmer and export? Is that possible? Is that a possibility in the Gambia?
Well, if you want to export.
Yeah. So sorry, the reason why I asked that, because I've never sat and think, let me plant a mango tree.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking that question.
Yeah. So first I'll answer it by saying what we're doing right now to encourage people to go into the mango business. We have a plan over the next 5 years to distribute 30,000 mango seedlings in rural Gambia to promote the growing of mangoes. But before you grow a mango, you want to know where you're going to sell it.
Yeah.
So companies like mine need to be able to guarantee the offtake or you yourself must have a market. So we've had this conversation many times. Don't just have a piece of land and say, okay, I have a piece of land, I want to grow something. That's the wrong approach when you're going into farming or any business. It should be, I know that this and these people want to buy mangoes. So Mohammed Tunkara loves mangoes. He buys a lot of mangoes. I'll talk to him and he says, I buy mangoes for X amount.
Yeah.
And you say, well, on my farm, I can produce X amount. And you do the math, and that should guide your decision whether you want to do it or not. But again, the reason I love mangoes, it's a very low maintenance crop. You grow it once and it fruits for the next 30 years, right? Without you doing much to it. So it's the opportunity is there, but I would encourage people to first learn the business behind it, because it is a business. Farming is a business.
Well, not many people talk about farming like the way you do, because for most of us, what we know is that this kind of, so everyone is doing this, watermelon. I'll also do watermelon. Everyone is into oranges now, as we can see in the Gambia. I'll do oranges. So, but mango, I haven't seen anyone ventured into planting mangoes with the thinking that they are going to export it. If this is a possibility, what can be done for this information to be more out there? Because people have the land, it's sitting empty, nothing happening in there. In fact, when I know people, when they buy land, they cut everything down, including mangoes.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and you're cutting something that's actually going to make you money.
Yes, exactly.
So how do we change this narrative? How do we make people awaken to these things?
See, I don't think it's as simple as bringing awareness. I think it's a structural change that needs to happen, not just in Gambia, in many African countries. Farming should be a market-led initiative. It's the market that creates the pull factor for people to grow what the market needs. Yeah. So when we have the perfect example in Gambia of something that has worked is cashews.
Yes.
In the 70s, there wasn't one cashew tree in Gambia.
Wow.
And cashew now is our second or third largest export crop. But how did that happen? The Peace Corps were looking for a way to give farmers alternate income, and they started giving them cashew trees and connecting them to buyers. And India being one of the biggest countries, the Indians started coming, and all across West Africa started buying cashews. And now people said, oh, there's money in cashew.
So they start planting.
They start planting because they say, oh, Mohammed buys cashew.
Yes.
So the value chain built naturally, but it was led by the demand for the crop. And if you look at developed societies, farmers are not really into marketing. So a farmer has their land, right? I want to give a real life example. I have a friend in Nairobi. So he passed away, so may Allah grant him Jannah.
Amen.
And he same age as me. He comes from a farming family, but he went to start his own farm, and he was growing wheat and barley for the beverage industry. He was doing 30,000 hectares. This farm was so big that they used to use airplanes to do the spraying.
Yes.
Right? But he never looked at growing anything else. Why is that? Because before he planted anything, he signed contracts with the factories. They said this is the quantity that they need.
Yes.
Right? And they would buy everything that he does. We talked about the rice importers in Gambia, that they buy from the rice producers and sugar producers in Brazil, but they buy 1 year of stock.
Yes.
So those producers, before they produce next year's stock, they've sold everything.
Yeah.
And in Gambia, we don't have that. People plant and then pray for rain and pray for customer. And would you go into any business where you might as well just go to the gambling spot and put your money on a roulette table and pray to win. So I think structurally we have to create the market access opportunities that creates the demand for the crops, and then the farmers will naturally follow where the money is. So we need to, I don't think it's a question of, I have a plot of land, what should I grow? It's, what does the market need? I have a plot of land, can I supply it?
Perfect. So talking about the mangoes now, how do I put this? Basically, because you are the guy that takes the mango, or you're one of the people that takes the mango out of the country, do you think of going to the farmers saying, get into mangoes and we'll buy them? Do you think of doing that?
Absolutely, we do that. And it's a matter of survival for us. So again, it's the market-led approach. We say, look, we have so-and-so contracts, or we're building this much demand over the next 5 years. And we've done an analysis and said in West Coast region, which is where most of the mangoes are grown, people are cutting down their trees for real estate, as
Yes.
you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So our new factory is being built in Genoa, which is in Soma, LRR.
Yeah.
It's not a mango growing region, but we're actively going to the different cooperatives, organizing them and giving them the trees. The same model as the cashew
Yes.
was done in the 80s,
Yes.
which is now feeding the entire cashew industry almost 40 years later.
Yeah.
We're trying to do the same thing in those areas where there isn't really any commercial farming. We give them the tools to start and guarantee that we will buy it. So that is the approach that needs to happen. There needs to be more people like me to say, okay, we've created the market. You start with the market. We've created demand, and we'll give the farmers a stimulus. It doesn't hurt that we also have a fertilizer company. We can give them the organic fertilizer. We do the certifications for them and all of that. And all we want from them is to grow it and take care of the trees, and we guarantee to buy it from them. This is a matter of survival for me. If I want my business to grow, I need to increase the growing regions. But that is all driven by what? The market.
Yes. So that's interesting. Now you're playing the long game, just like it has been played with the cashew. So do you ever wonder what will happen if in 10 years' time, all these mangoes are nice, we see them all across the place in Soma and stuff, and then a new player comes in trying to get in between you and those farmers that you have a long history with. Have you thought of that scenario?
I've thought about it, but it doesn't bother me. There a business where you have to rely on being a monopoly to be successful is not a business you should be in. You should be able to rely on your competition, your competitive advantage. And we have certain structural competitive advantages that we believe that we can compete with anybody. So at the end of the day, competition is good. It forces you to be better, to improve, to pivot. One of our competitive advantages is we also provide inputs.
Yes.
So if you come and say, yeah, we want to buy your mangoes, blah, 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 I say, yeah, I give you the trees. Not just that, I can give you the fertilizer, right? And good luck competing with that. You have to go build a fertilizer company, or you have to go buy fertilizer from me, you know? So it's, again, competitive advantage is what you're talking about. I do not subscribe to the idea that entrepreneurs or business people should be scared of competition. It's the same. Sometimes you train a staff,
Yes.
and they leave and they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, it happens to all of us. It hurts, but at the end of the day, you don't own that person. It's the same with the farmer. I give you the opportunity, but I don't own you. You do what you want that's best for you. My job is to make sure what I'm offering you is better than what anyone else is offering you. And if I fail to do that, I'm no longer competitive. That is on me. It's not on the farmer. But fear is a weakness.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't view my worldview is very odd sometimes, but it allows me to sleep at night. You know, if you find a better customer, alhamdulillah, it's good for you.
No, that's great. I think that's a mature way of looking at things, not being, let anyone hold you to ransom. And so with the fertilizer, that actually gives you an advantage there. So I understand yours is organic fertilizer compared to, what do we call the non-organic fertilizer?
They call it synthetic synthetic fertilizer or chemical fertilizer.
So that's the one that normally we see being imported, giving to the farmers in our villages.
NPK and the ureas,
Okay. So what is the difference?
It's a lot of difference. So chemical fertilizers are produced through hydrocarbons, so through oil and gas companies. So you see right now in the world, all the talk about fertilizers, because 20% of the oil in the world has stopped hitting the market. It comes from the Strait of Hormuz because of the oil companies. Those oil companies, the gas they use creates urea and things like that. Phosphates come from the phosphate deposits in Morocco, things like that. And these are chemical compounds. And what they do is they go directly to your plant and gives it the nutrients it needs to grow. But at the same time, it degrades the nutrients in the soil, right? What in other countries, people do practice crop rotation to replenish the soil. But in countries like ours, people just put in the fertilizer and deplete all the nutrients in the soil. And organic fertilizer, on the other hand, directly is a soil amendment that goes directly into the soil and boosts the bionutrients that already exist in the soil, multiplying them, giving the soil all the nutrients it needs to feed the plant. Now, without degrading it. So with chemical fertilizer, because every time you use a chemical fertilizer, you degrade the soil. The next time you use it, you have to use more, and more. Whereas with organic fertilizer, the more you use it, the less you have to put, because you're already increasing the nutrients in the soil.
Okay.
The best way to simplify this, because I know that was very technical, is you go to the gym. I go to the gym. You decide to take steroids. You're going to get big and pump.
Yes.
But the moment you stop doing it,
Yes.
you lose all the strength. On top of that, there's all these side effects to it. Whereas me, I decide to go eat healthy and go work out sustainably over time. Mine might be more difficult now, but in the long run, I'm more healthy and I'm stronger than you.
Okay.
So the chemical fertilizer is the steroid, and the organic fertilizer is the healthy living option.
That's interesting. So eventually you plan to grow that to a level where you go nationwide with it.
Yeah, we are nationwide. We sell all over the country. The question is, will we go worldwide?
Okay.
And that's the ambition.
That's good. That's very good. So you are an entrepreneur. You've dabbled into real estate as well.
Yeah.
So I like to get your opinion on, for people in the diaspora here, buying from a real estate company versus building. What is your take on that?
Take it from me, who's built a lot of houses, and while I'm in Gambia, not even the diaspora,
Yes.
you don't want to deal with the headache. Try to find a reputable real estate agent. Yeah, you pay a little bit more, but you don't have to deal with a plumber that has wired your entire plumbing system the wrong way, and the tiler man has put the tiles. Now you have to rip it up and do it again. You don't want to deal with that while you live in the diaspora, or you've sent money to someone to do something, they don't do it. So I think everybody and their situation. Yes, it's cheaper to build by yourself, but it's better for you to buy a finished product if you're not a builder, and especially if you're not there to monitor the work. And there's so many cases of people having these issues with builders, and it's not just a Gambia, this is a global issue. So I would advise you to find a reputable real estate company to buy a house from.
Interesting. So, and in terms of the investment itself as well, because a lot of Gambians do these real estate projects as investments. So if someone here, while you are here, someone bumps into you, they know you're an entrepreneur, they ask you for advice, what can they invest in? What would you say to them? Or what advice would you give them?
We had this conversation yesterday.
Yes.
I would tell them that you're asking me the wrong question, right? Before anybody invests in anything, if you have to ask somebody what to invest in, don't invest in it. Everybody is different. What is good for me to invest in might be different from you. The money is just part of it. There's so many different opportunities, but mango might not be the right investment for you.
Yes, but it is for you.
Like, for example, we had this conversation yesterday. I've been working with farmers for more than 16, 17 years. I have not farmed one thing. Right? Because farming is not for me.
Yeah.
I work with farmers, but I'm in the processing side. Yeah. There's money to be made on farming, right? But just because there's money to be made on farming doesn't mean it's for me. So what I would say to anybody in diaspora, start with, what do you have? So is it the money? You have a plot of land? Have you looked at, you want to go into farming? Are you ready to be a farmer? Or do you want to invest in the farming? You're better off maybe just trading the commodity, buying the finished good and selling it. Maybe your advantage is you're here in the UK and you know all of these different shops that buy mangoes, for example. So does that mean you should go and grow mangoes, or does that mean that maybe you should buy mangoes from people who grow it? So it depends. You need to look at yourself and ask yourself this one key question: what is my competitive advantage outside of the money? Right? Every investor has money. Yeah. But what is going to make my money go further than so-and-so's money? So you start with that, and then you work your way down. That's what I would say in short.
Indeed. And because I ask that because I speak to a lot of people that ask me this question, and sometimes many of them, when they ask, they've already taken action. Like I spoke to someone a few weeks ago, they're in Germany. They've already started. They got someone from Mali to come and do the stuff. One advice I could tell them, despite having no real experience in that field, is they were doing too many things. They have chickens, they have corn, they have so many things. And my advice to them was to specialize in one thing and also get a farm manager, which is something someone advised me once we were talking about. He said you have to get a farm manager who knows what the business is. So, but a lot of people, again, like I said, our friends or families, they start, then they come and ask you for advice. They say, I'm already doing this. I've already sent money to my cousin or my dad. So imagine me saying, no, take that money back.
No, it's too late.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, this is a typical problem. So let's dissect this particular case study, right? A guy in Germany
Yes.
sends money to build a farm.
Yeah.
And from what I'm hearing, it is a farm that's doing multiple things,
Yes.
which is a very legitimate farming system because they could be using the manure from the chicken to grow the crops. All sounds great. The question is, what was his motivation into doing that? Did his cousin tell him that, oh, we have this land, I have this great idea, we should do it?
Sometimes that's the case.
That is a bad starting point.
But you know that's very common in Gambia, right?
I know.
Your cousin will tell you, oh, buy these 3-wheel scooters, you're making $1,000 a day, or buy a taxi, you're making $500 a day. They're so common. And people, I know plenty of people, including my own family members, who have spent money on those
You don't
things.
even have to go far. I have done it myself.
There we go.
You know, we're all victims of it.
Yeah.
But then you go through it, and one of the reasons I'm on this podcast is to also tell you things I have learned.
Yes.
Right? And what I have learned is anything that has ever worked for me was market-led. It wasn't based on emotion or this guy said this or that. It's, okay, if I have a piece of land and my cousin is saying, let's go into the farming, the first thing I'm going to ask him, who is buying it? Right? Okay, who is buying it? At what price? What quantity? Can we get them to commit? Okay, they're committed to it. Okay, how are we going to grow it? How are we going to meet there? And then we do it. If you haven't answered any of those things, don't even send a thing in. Any decision, be it real estate, be it logistics, be it farming, start with, who are you selling it to? Can you sell it to them? Does the price make sense? The logistics make sense? And do we have the capacity to fulfill what we promise those people? When you have that, then you can go. And it doesn't matter what crop it is. Like, I don't care what you grow or what you invest in, but just make sure you have someone to buy it. And that should be determined before you put any cent into the business.
I think that market-led approach, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I think the lack of it is why a lot of people are suffering in their investment. Whilst you were saying that, I was thinking of a cousin who also came from France, went to Gambia into this poultry stuff. And then one time we spoke, he said he's struggling because the chickens are of age. Now, any day he's feeding them, he's losing money. And yet, I went on to hear a few other people complain. They're in the poultry business because they complain that the feed is expensive. So they're saying that they have nowhere to put the chickens. So I think that's the lack of kind of not thinking of where they're going to sell the chicken before even starting.
Exactly.
So, but how do we change this? How do we make people know of this approach, this market-led approach?
I think conversations like this on podcasts or in person help. But I think the most important thing is people need to be exposed to realities of business. So a lot of the times you listen to podcasts or you admire business people from afar and you only see their successes, you only see, but when it takes two business people to sit down and talk to understand what goes into getting to that point. Take myself, for example. We said, okay, I exported mangoes. How many of those mangoes didn't make it before it got to the market? You know, how many times did I get it wrong in the production? How many times did it's a long process. And anybody who's going into doing anything should expect that. So yes, maybe you've started this poultry business and you're facing this issue where the feed is expensive, you have nowhere to put the chickens. Okay, but you're already in it. You can't quit. It's a lesson, right? Everything you do, you're going to be faced with lessons. The measure of how good you are in the business, how successful you're going to be, is how you solve that problem. Momarr Taal sitting on a podcast is not going to solve it for you because I don't know the details of it. But if Momarr Taal was in your shoes, I would be staying up all night to figure out how to move those chickens and make sure they don't die in my hands. So again, you will learn on the job. We call it school fees. You know, it's the school of business. And nobody is going to give you the answers before you go in. But the easiest way to minimize your risk of failure is using the market-led approach, because at least you know who's going to buy it and how much money you're going to get. Now, the problems you face along the line, that is where your skill, your intellect, your intuition, your gut feeling, or whatever it is that drives you, your analytical skills, will help you to solve those problems so that you can reach the goal. I think it's just as simple as that.
Good. So because you are an entrepreneur in the Gambia and you've dabbled into so many things, A few weeks ago, there was a topic on Instagram, comment made by Ibrahim Abaji on the Jola Madi podcast.
Yes.
That Gambians are the laziest people in West Africa. And he went on to explain that because mostly I'm paraphrasing now, when we attain a certain level of comfort, we stay there.
Yep.
And to be honest, I agree with him. And because I saw myself in that. Yes, I've had success in business, alhamdulillah. But I felt like I got comfortable. Because I guess that lack of thinking big.
Yep.
But this topic came up last night as we were driving.
Yes.
Will you have a different take? Because it's a topic that's out there. We're all Gambian, so we all have our opinion. We can all share. So I want to know, what do you think of, what is your take on it, on the comment?
Again, it's an opinion.
Yes.
So opinions, there's no right or wrong. It just depends on how you see it.
Yeah.
From what I see, he's neither right or wrong, but I do disagree. Gambians are lazy. I agree that. I'm lazy sometimes as well. But I think to take a blanket statement and say all Gambians are lazy because we're easily content, I think that same phrase can be applied to everybody in the world. There's certain types of people, no matter where you're from, are easily content. So let's go back to Gambia. I'll break it down. I think I would have framed that differently. In Gambia, some people are ambitious. Some people are in it to make money. Some people want to work hard and make money. Some people want to live a simple life. Doesn't mean that they're lazy. Some people are content with opening a madrasa and teaching children Quran. Does not mean they're lazy. They're content. It's not a bad thing. Now you can interrogate if you're going into a business and you want to make money, right? Or you want to be as big as you can, right? But you reach a certain level and you're content. And we're only talking about that section of rather than saying the whole country. And we want to talk about just that the entrepreneurs that we're easily content. Yes, let's dissect that. In Gambia, yes, a lot of people reach a certain level and they just stay there.
Yeah.
They plateau, they don't go up, right? Whereas in other countries, you see people, the sky is the limit.
The Nigerians,
right? But why is that?
And the Senegalese.
Yes. But in Gambia, there's people you can point to, the Mohammed Jazz, the toughs. Sky is the limit, right? It's not a Gambian thing. I believe representation matters, right? In Nigeria, there's a lot of billionaires. You can see them. They're celebrated.
Yeah.
So a Nigerian can easily relate to the possibility of becoming a billionaire.
Because the billions are out there and they're celebrated.
It. In Gambia, if all the success stories you see or what is possible for a Gambian is to reach, to become a government minister, that's the highest, right? So when you reach to that level, you don't think there's anything else you can do.
Yeah.
But then when you're in and around circles of people who have been able to come from nothing and build unimaginable wealth or unimaginable success, right? And you can touch and you feel them and you say, this person is no different from me. Naturally, what is possible for you changes. So your contentment changes. Just having a house and a car and sending my kids to school is no longer enough.
Yeah.
I want to be in every store in the United States because I know it's possible. But how many Gambians have been exposed to somebody who's done that or even thought that it's possible? So I think it's more of, where are our Gambian success stories? How do we tell the stories of those people so that an average Gambian can know, no, it's possible. This person is just like you. And then that's how you create the hunger and the ambition in people to attain things that they might before. Perfect example. When I was growing up, to become an international football player from Gambia, it's unheard of.
Yes.
Gambian in the Premier League. There was only one big international football player we all know, was Biri Biri.
Yeah.
And he was sort of like this folk figure,
yeah.
You know? You never thought about it. But today you have Yankubu Minte, you have all of these Gambians playing all around the world. Yeah. And when you're in Gambia, you see them, you touch them, they're just like you. Yeah. How many kids, now in Gambia, the dream of this generation in football,
the Premier League.
Yes. So are they lazy?
No.
Are they easily content?
No.
But the reality of what's possible has changed.
Yeah.
It's the same with business. So I don't believe Gambians are lazy. I believe that the more we have examples of successes, the more people are awakened to the possibilities and the more that they want. And the more they want, the harder they'll work. any Gambian you see in the West
Yeah.
is working 10 times harder than other races, and they'll do 4 or 5 jobs. This
Yes.
person is not lazy.
Yeah.
So that's my perspective on it.
Now, it makes sense. Like you said, there's no right or wrong answer. You just each to their own opinion and or their interpretation of how things are. And I do agree with what you're saying. And I think to what you said, even because I said initially I agreed, because even I took myself as an example, the success I've had in the business in the last few years, I felt like I got comfortable. But then when I look at the Nigerians and stuff who started their business around the same time as mine, what some of them are doing, I'm like, whoa, I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
So I think it goes back to me earlier on not knowing
Yes.
what was possible even when I was starting, what I could possibly be doing.
Exactly.
So I do agree. And I think as well, I know since the last few years, I've gotten to know a lot of Gambians, successful Gambians, in what they do in terms of money or career achievement, but they are not known.
Yeah.
Maybe it goes back to the point where by Nigeria, you're celebrated. In Gambia, you have to hide.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we change that also, that narrative? Like, I like when I meet people who've achieved certain success and stuff, I like to tell them, reach out, speak to the younger generation. You don't know who you might inspire. And our younger kids need inspiration. So, but how do you change, how do we change also that mentality in the people that need to look back and, you know, tell the kids, hey, you can do better than me?
We have to be brave. I'll be a little vulnerable here. When my business started to get a lot of more notoriety, and I was doing a lot of press, and people used to ask about me, and I got pretty well known. And in Gambia, naturally, when you start being recognized and people, whatever, you sort of become, you say, you don't like the attention.
Yeah.
And there was a period in my life when, before COVID, my business was flying. And then COVID, it sort of brought my business down, and I was insecure being seen as this successful person when I knew things were not right. So I became press shy, and I felt, and a lot of people would see it as when you're in the press, you're showing off, and it's not that. It's this same thing. We want to share our stories so people can, but you get tired of it, and you say, let me be more recluse, right? And during that period of time, and I think it's only recently that I've started talking again. During that period of time, you would be amazed at how many young people come up to me and say, hey, I saw your story on YouTube, or I saw it inspired me to leave my job and start doing this business.
Wow. Yeah.
Our friend Momarr Sendoko is one of them. You know, they're the people that you don't even know you're inspiring that much.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And you look at them now and see how far they've gotten. And maybe if they didn't have proximity to me or speak to me, they might not have had the courage, or they just needed that validation to say that if Momarr can do it, because you look at me, I'm not a remarkable person. I never got all A's in school. I was not a super student. I didn't come from a very rich family, but I'm just like you. You can touch me and feel me. I bleed like you. I have the same fears and anxieties as you going into business, but I was able to do this, right? It inspired them. So now, when I look back at it, I said, okay, all those things I was insecure about don't matter, because the net positive is all of these people who have seen it and say, that representation matters. Momarr is young. I was on Forbes magazine, 30 under 30.
Yes. That's when I first started knowing who you are.
You see?
Yeah.
And that's the first Gambian on Forbes.
Wow.
I came to find out when I went to the Forbes office. They said, this is the first time a Gambian has been on Forbes.
Wow.
And when the circulation went out, and they're like, a 28-year-old Gambian on the Forbes.
That's when we all knew you. At least I knew you, yeah.
And for me, it wasn't a big deal at first, but the publicity that came from that also made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It made me uncomfortable, and it made me stay away from the press. But when I started meeting people who, like you said, you start meeting people who know you before you know them, and they tell you how much. And I've met certain people. Ismail Abaji said to me, one of the reasons he decided to come back is because he saw, wow, there's a young guy who was out here who moved back and made it.
Wow. And he's inspiring tons of people.
So that's how you change it.
Yes.
Those small things. And what does it cost me to come sit down and talk to
Nothing.
you? I just tell you the truth of how I feel. So who knows what young person right now doesn't know what to do, and they're watching this and they're saying, oh, look at these two young Gambian men. Look what they've been able to build. What does it cost us to say that? And that person might have the courage to come and try it. You know, I think it's as simple as that. So we have to have the courage to go past our insecurities and our uncomfortableness, because we do have a responsibility to carry along our people.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely agree with that, because if you look at it like sometimes even if you want to do that, sometimes it's also friends and family that say, oh no, don't go to the press. They make you,
Yeah.
you know, but I think that's wrong as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, it comes from a culture of where we don't celebrate and we don't have much to celebrate, because anyone who does, we keep it quiet.
Yes.
But when we start seeing more and more stories, like,
Yes.
you know, there's a saying in Gambia, chat bahut.
Yes.
So you don't talk about your successes because, it's going to lead to your downfall.
Yes. That is what I believe keeps a lot of people from putting themselves out there to inspire younger kids, even with good intention.
Exactly. And you ask yourself, yes, we believe in chat, we understand it, right? But we believe in our ability more.
Yes.
There's nothing that you can say about me that is going to change how I run my business, because it's based on sound business principles.
Yeah.
So when you believe in yourself and you believe in what you're doing, it goes back to the same thing of, what if somebody comes and takes your mango farmers?
Yeah.
That isn't, I don't lose sleep over that.
Yeah.
I don't lose sleep on what people have to say about my business. What I lose sleep about is whether my business is being run properly. So whether I come and speak on a podcast or not, the only thing I care about is my business being run properly, and is it doing what it's supposed to do?
Yeah.
And if I'm doing all of that things, nothing else matters.
True.
So we have to have a tough skin as business leaders.
Yeah.
As we're getting older, we're no longer young. We have kids now, right?
Yes.
Certain things you just do not have the luxury to be bothered about.
True.
And you realize you're giving up a lot more of yourself and shortchanging a lot more people by following naysayers and all of these things, you know.
It's incredible. And you know, we have incredible Gambians all over the world. When I speak to people like yourself, there are some of the other Gambians you tell me about, or when I speak to Jangana, some of the other Gambians you tell me about. Imagine Gambians at Africa HQ level for Standard Chartered Bank and all these other places.
A lot of them.
Yes. Names have come up. Hopefully some of them I plan to meet, even if I have to fly to Cotonou, wherever they Togo, wherever they are, go meet them. I'll do. Or Gambians at the UN. And
absolutely.
Yes, and Gambians at the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority. I've got an email one time from a Gambian. I could not believe it.
There's Gambians at NVIDIA, you know?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I saw one on, Aisha Tambajang's sister.
Yes. So
and she herself is incredible. And then her sister's at NVIDIA. Yeah.
So we have all the stories.
Yes.
We don't tell them. Do you know how you know Gambia is a powerful country? Anybody in the development world, whether it's UN, ECOWAS, or whatever, the joke is, how is Gambia such a small country? But every meeting we go, there's highly technical Gambians running the show.
Yes. Dr. Soldier, you know him?
Yes, Dr. Soldier.
Yeah, a good friend.
Yes.
He's incredible. And I say the same thing, bro. The young kids need to know. And this is a guy from Nyakwe. He's not from Marina.
He's brilliant.
Works for the US government.
Exactly.
Things I want to say, but I'll let him, when I get him on the podcast, I'll let him say those things.
So it's true. There's another podcast, this Dialectic.
The Dialectic Space, yes.
He's
the guy
doing a great job also telling the stories of Gambians. And it's people you might never have heard of, or people you've heard of, but you don't know what they're doing.
Yes.
But it also makes you understand that you're not alone.
Yeah.
I remember in 2014, 15, I was very young. I felt like I was the only young person building something in Gambia.
Yeah,
that's how.
Because you were the only one out there known.
And when I go to meetings, I still remember when I wanted to first build my mango factory. I remember I was very naive. I was 24, and I went to a government meeting, and they were like, "Halibunda will be Lumo Def." You know what I mean? And in that time, there was no concept of youth entrepreneurs. And, you know, now it's trendy. It didn't exist. So I had to build by myself. And before I knew it, a lot of people started now, when they see these stories or more and more people from diaspora come home, it gives confidence to young people to feel like they should claim their space in the economy. Whereas in those days, they'll say, no, wait your turn. Take time. For what? You know, so we have to represent, and because I don't want any entrepreneur to feel what I felt in 20. It was very difficult, and for people to take you serious, they looked at me like I was crazy. You want to build a factory? You're 24 years old. You know, you need to go work in a factory. You know, but now a 24-year-old can look and say, Mama built a factory at 24. Why not me?
Yes.
And nobody will tell them you can't do it, because they've seen people, not just me, they've seen you, they've seen the doctors, but they've seen all of these different people build. So I think that whole facade of young people can't do something has disappeared.
Yes, that is true.
You know?
And also the thinking big as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's something as well we really need to kind of drive down into the young entrepreneurs to think big, to think that the world is there's a world beyond Gambia.
Absolutely.
So many of them, again, it goes to the comfort. Once they achieve certain success in the Gambia, they tend to stay there.
Yeah.
When you have Senegal, you have Sierra Leone, you have all these countries. So our good friend Balajo, AB Beautiful Blind, he's now in Sierra Leone.
You see?
So how many other Gambians do you see that think outside of the Gambia?
Yeah. But the more they see he's in Sierra Leone, if he inspires one other person to go start in Sierra Leone,
yes,
that's how it starts.
And those countries have bigger markets.
They have huge markets. And look, Gambia is the smallest market in Africa.
Yes.
We cannot change that. If you want to be successful, you actually do not have a choice.
You have to go out.
You have to. Gambia is a good testing ground. You can make money. Like you said, be content. You live a good life. But why not go and stamp your flag in the world?
In Africa, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
When I was on Forbes International magazine, I never once thought I'd ever be there or be on BBC and all that. But they came to me.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're looking for these stories from forgotten countries.
Yes.
Right? And that is also our advantage because we're so small. If you go to Sierra Leone, they have a huge respect for Gambians.
Yes, yes.
Not only because of your relatives because they said they were very upright. This is what everyone is. I was in Sierra Leone. They said they were upright people. They're good business people. They believe Gambians are very good business people. The next generation of that is the Mohammed Jazz and the Tufts who've gone there and built.
Yes, Mohammed QCL.
And they're doing big things there. So the image they have of Gambians is these are serious business people. They're honest and they do good business, right? But within Gambia, we underestimate ourselves. But when we go to these platforms, we're celebrated. Tough in Nigeria is almost you go. They know him everywhere. I was shocked. You know, he's in Port Harcourt, but he's like you think he's a Nigerian.
Yeah.
But in Gambia, we say, we can't do it. But we go to these countries and they celebrate us. So which is why I'm so happy to hear that the blinds are now in Sierra Leone.
Yes, a beautiful brand. Yes.
And it's just more representing of Gambians putting our flag in different countries, and we must do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree, 100%. Thank you so much, Momarr. Thank you so much. I mean, I hope this is the first of many, many conversations because there's so much I'd love to talk about, but then we don't want to make it too long and we want for you to come back again. We're looking for a reason for you to come back to Birmingham again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any parting words for the entrepreneurs out there, be it in Gambia or here?
Yeah, I think what I always say is you have to bet on yourself. No one can believe in you more than you believe in yourself. The moment that you stop believing yourself or start doubting yourself and allow that to overtake your ambition, you might as well just not even start. But always believe in yourself, bet on yourself. You are capable of everything you can imagine. Any thought that God has put into your mind that is for you, and He said that this is going to be for you, it's up to you to do it. Nobody can get in your way. So just believe in yourself, bet on yourself, think big.
Okay, final question. I think that one was final, but this is final.
This is final.
A lot of the people from the diaspora, when they want to go home, naturally, a lot of people back home tell them, don't come. People would rather you send the money. They invested for you than you yourself come. And I know a lot of people that want to go, but people scare them from going. So if I say to you, okay, Momarr, I want to move back to the Gambia, do something, please advise me based on what you know.
Come and see.
Come and see.
That's all I can tell you. You come to the ground.
Yes.
See for yourself before you take out one penny. Yes. Come on the ground and see. I cannot tell.
So don't send the money to my cousin in advance.
No. Unless it's already a business that's structured, it's a business that exists, business that you know about.
Mostly no. Mostly it's no.
It's a startup, something new.
Yeah.
You know why? You know, it's look. If let's say you live in England here in Birmingham, and somebody down the street in Birmingham says, "Send me money to go start a pizza shop." Yeah. Will you just send it to them blindly?
No.
So why are you doing it in Gambia?
Because they trust the family, and the stories of there's a lot of money to be made in this, so you don't doubt them.
Yeah, then we would have been doing it ourselves, But I'm saying, hey, look, there's nothing better than first-hand experience.
Yes.
I'm not saying don't send your family money. You do whatever you want with your money. My only advice is whatever you do, use the market approach.
Yes.
Whatever someone proposes to you, say first who's buying it, how much are they buying it for? Do we have the capacity to sell it to them in that way? And if you do all those things, then you can start talking about investment. But don't even do anything until that is sorted out. That saves me a lot of stress in my life, and it will save you a lot of stress.
Thank you, Momarr. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.